As world language teachers, we often wonder, how do world language students best reach communication? Let's take the example of Jill and Jack. They don't know any Japanese, so they attend class and the teacher uses comprehensible input. Now, with comprehensible input, the teacher is making sure that they understand everything. The teacher uses body language, gestures, visual support, comprehension checks, context, examples, lots and lots of examples, and even redefining in the target language. And even some grammar is learned even if you don't explicitly teach it. So Jill and Jack are learning when to use which words, what these words mean, how to make a sentence, how to get across what you need, how to make a question, how to answer a question, all through the use of comprehensible input. So even if they haven't spoken a word, they're understanding how the teacher is using the target language, and the teacher is the model for how to use the language. The result is that Jill and Jack understand how to use the language and understand lots of new vocabulary. They have acquired lots of language, and this can happen in as little as 10 minutes in a class. So they have acquired lots and lots of language, hopefully it's more than 10 minutes, but they still haven't used the language themselves. So what needs to happen is Jill and Jack need to come together and communicate themselves. This is called output. And output can be speaking or writing, or in the case of sign language, using your hands to speak. And a very effective way to have output activities is through task-based communication activities. Now, these are tasks. These are things that you want to do. Like, I want to introduce myself. So a task is introduce myself. So the students maybe introduce themselves to each other. Another task could be find out what sports someone plays and share what sports you play. So you learn a question and an answer and kind of how to answer it in different ways, and you're using the vocabulary that you learned. Another task would be to find out someone's favorite band or singer and share yours. So these are all things that you want to achieve, things that you do when you communicate. Now, these tasks are not the actful can-do statements, which are much less specific. They're the actful functions. So output has to happen through some kind of communication activity, and task-based communication activities are very effective for this. So now Jill and Jack have communicated. The first time they communicate, it's going to be terrible, but then they get better and better and better. So practice does make perfect. Now they know each other's name, and they've figured out who likes what kind of music. And they've discovered that they both play soccer. So first is language acquisition. The best way really is through comprehensible input. But the second step can happen in the same lesson and even on the same day at every single level of language learning. Even on the first day of class, communication needs to happen, student-to-student communication. Now you have to build up to this. Teacher modeling, working in groups, making a safe environment for communication is always very helpful. But this communication can happen within the same lesson as language acquisition, and that kind of like completes the circle so that they've not only acquired language, but they've also practiced output to cement the language in their head and actually give themselves a better ability to produce the language.